to keep your health and fitness on track during the holidays. Moderation is not key. Basically, shared on a regular basis. Oh, just enjoy the holidays. They only come around once a year. It's a time where a lot of people just soften up on their habits. So let's talk about that. Welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. This show is going to encourage, challenge, and maybe even provoke you to step outside your comfort zone, take more action to better improve yourself and your health. I'm your host, Mark Avens, and in this crazy, whacked out, upside down world that seems to keep pushing a narrative for people to become softer, weaker, sicker, unhealthier, and more dependent than ever, the goal and intent of the show is to help you navigate through this so that you can become braver today than you were yesterday. Welcome back. Welcome back. Before we get into today's breakthrough episode, just to share with you the types of episodes that we have and offer, we have brave guest interviews, essentially where I look up to brave people who are not only brave today, but they've also helped a number of people become braver today than they were yesterday. So those are our guest interviews. We also have Brave Q&A where I'll be answering questions that you have and want answers to. So if you have a question about health, fitness, weight loss, or anything else, whether you're listening to a podcast or watching on YouTube or found me through maybe Spotify, just drop a comment question there and I'll be answering some of those on the show. Then we also have Flavor of the Week, where I'll be discussing the latest news on health and fitness, picking apart some latest diet trends, workouts, fad pills, potions, etc. Just breaking them down for you and giving my honest opinion on those. And then lastly, what we actually are doing today is a breakthrough episode. And that's where I'll be taking a deeper dive into an area of physical, mental, emotional, potentially even spiritual, basically any area that's going to be holding you back and provide insight and guidance to help you break through to your personal health and fitness journey. And in a nutshell, that is a long, lengthy introduction. Today's show is a breakthrough episode, and the title is Moderation is Not Key to Keep Your Health and Fitness on Track During the Holidays. Moderation is not key. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about what moderation is, because we hear this basically shared on a regular basis. Oh, just enjoy the holidays. They only come around once a year. You've worked so hard. It's been a really hard year. You're around family and you're traveling or, all those types of things. Maybe you just had a stressed out year and you're like, this is the one time. Maybe you have a little bit of extra vacation that you're going to be using over the holidays. You have Thanksgiving off, Christmas off, you have the week off for Christmas, and those type of things. And it's a time where a lot of people just soften up on their habits. And they give the excuse like, just everything in moderation. And you and I both know that that just doesn't exist in the holidays, especially for us Americans. We don't really understand moderation at all. And in fact, it is something that I believe is the reason why a lot of people struggle over the holidays. In fact, moderation is not the key. And I'm going to help you understand a little better what that means. We're going to dig into that a little deeper, especially if you're trying to stay on track of your habits during the holidays and coming into the new year, not being like everybody else that just kind of jumps on to New Year's resolution. So let's talk about that. I'd love to know by sharing, just share with me in the comments, just drop it down below. You're catching this on YouTube, you're watching me, or you're listening on a podcast. I'd love to know if you're the type of person. I mean, you can just say, yeah, man, I fall off track every holiday season. I do really well through the year, or I have my ups and downs. And then usually around, before Thanksgiving through Christmas season and into the new year, I really kind of fall off track. And this is going to be for you. I want to help you navigate through that. And it's going to take you being a little bit braver today through this holiday season before the new year, so you can come out into the new year better than you were last year, better than you were yesterday, better than you were last holiday season. Moderation is not the key. I always think about everything in moderation. Well, I'll just have a few drinks, but not as many as I usually have. I'll just have a little bit of dessert, but not as much as I usually have. I'll just go a little easier on my portion sizes. Maybe, moderation. I work out hard through the year. Maybe I'll back off on my exercise. If you start saying those things to yourself, what are you comparing them to? Because if you're actually thinking about moderation, everything in moderation, the holidays, you have to look at what you are doing all the rest of the year. Truly, it's one thing to be easing off on the pumpkin pie, right? Or maybe, I don't know if you have an eggnog fetish, right? If you love the eggnog, I don't. But maybe you're in the peppermint bark, which we like, right? And you're like, oh, I'll just have a little bit in moderation, right? And the problem is, what you're thinking about and you're comparing the moderation to is what you're doing the rest of the year. So my question to you is, are you really overdoing it during the year? And the easiest way to know is to simply stand in front of the mirror and look and see, do you look bigger than you did last year? Do you still have the same weight on that you did last year? Maybe you made it a point to change some of your habits and you started to exercise more. You even started to maybe eat a little bit more healthier whole foods, but your body and your weight and your clothes still fit the same, right? Maybe you've tried a number of diets. Maybe you've even been on those weight loss pills your doctor keeps pushing you, right? All those types of things. And you've even tried all that stuff. Maybe you did the keto last year. Maybe you joined a gym membership last year. All those types of things. You got to look at, like, should you really be thinking about moderation now? Or should you actually instead kind of reframe the thought and go full force in this next month, this last month of the year? You could go really hard. And you know what? I would say that's probably what I'm going to do. I want to go harder. I want to work out a little bit more. I want to be a little bit more conscious of my portion sizes. Does it mean I can't enjoy the holidays? No. It actually means the opposite. It just means I'm paying more attention to what really is going to truly benefit me coming into the new year, instead of doing what a lot of people do, which actually isn't even happening anymore. And I have some stats on that. But like, moderation is not something you should be even entertaining right now. In fact, you should be looking at ways to balance out your diet and ways to move more, especially in the season. Maybe it's a little bit colder out, it gets darker earlier. I know for us, since we've moved to Colorado, and I know that the time change in general put a little bit of challenge in front of us, but it gets dark here about 5 o'clock. And that's hard because we're used to being out and about. Doesn't mean we can't still go out and about. We just got to, have a light, wear a headlamp or have my phone so I know where we're walking or doing some movement or going to the gym in the evening, those types of things. You got to understand, like, what is the point? Do you think you should be taking a vacation from your healthy habits through the holiday season? And here's the problem that comes. A lot of times people end up putting weight on, and they do really well all the rest of the year, myself included. And then you get a little bit lax, you get a little bit soft, you have a little bit more to eat, you give yourself an excuse to say, well, I'll just do it in moderation, when you and I both know that that just doesn't happen. Here's some things. There's an article I looked up. Harvard Health talks about, focusing on your friends and your family and fun instead of food, right? I get that, right? In the holiday season is time to be where, like, healthy habits kind of fall by the wayside. Ha ha, pun intended. Like, people abandon their healthy habits during the winter, those types of things, right? And then people like, well, it's only comes around once a year. You got to think about what's really important to you. Do you want to make things harder for you? Regardless if you have a New Year's resolution, starting the new year, do you want to start kind of behind the 8 ball, if you will, for lack of better terms? Like, you're going to do that if you allow moderation to get the best of you. And usually what happens with moderation is this. Moderation is just an easy word that you and I both will use and have used before to give yourself the excuse to eat whatever the heck you want, drink whatever you want, have as much dessert, maybe not go out for that exercise. In fact, this morning it was cold out, and I know I have a pretty busy day ahead of me. Schedule's pretty full. And I was thinking to myself, I probably really should go to the gym now, even though it's really cold and it's dark out, before waiting till later and making it even harder to kind of squeeze it in. And I really didn't want to go to the gym, and it was cold, and I'd had my coffee and I was sitting on the couch and I was in my comfies and just relaxed. And I was like, no, I didn't want to do it. But I knew deep down, I was like, man, no, I'm letting my mind get the best of me. I'm letting my thoughts of negativity of saying, no, it's not worth it. You could work out later, give yourself the excuse, all those types of things. I've worked out already a few times this week, that sort of stuff. I'm just saying, your mind will start to play with you and play with your emotions. So I just want you to know, as far as moderation is not going to be the key for you. This is the overall theme I want you to take going into this next year. Go hard this next year. Here's some things that I've recommended and we're doing myself is to go for some extra workouts, go for a longer walk, maybe sign up for a 5K. You maybe came off Thanksgiving, you did the turkey trot and you gave that the excuse to eat a little bit extra, but you probably ate more like 4 turkey trots and you only did 1. And a turkey trot is like a neighborhood 5K or a 3K or a 10K, or you even maybe did a half a marathon over Thanksgiving. And then, you ate for 4 marathons, right? So again, the moderation is just, you got to be very careful with that word. It definitely can get the best of you and play with you. So one of the things that I'm going to actually share with you some stats Because what you don't want to have happen, and here's the main reason why you don't want to go moderate into this last month of the year. Moderation is going to set you up for failure in the new year. So if you want to look ahead one more month in January, and you're starting to think about the new year, and I'm going to get myself straight, and it's the new year, new me, and I'm going to exercise more and live healthier, and I'm going to avoid the drinking as much, and I'm going to only bring whole fresh foods. You know how the story goes, right? I've played that story so many times, and it never ended up right. And the best way to combat against that for me, and for honestly all of the students that we've worked with, even my coaches, some of their family members, and what we've noticed is when you back off and go really easy through the holidays, yes, we still enjoy Thanksgiving, we still enjoy Christmas, still enjoy time with our family, but we still don't actually make an excuse to just go moderate through this last month. This is the last month to actually charge ahead, go full force, right? Go all in on yourself, on your health. If you're used to walking 5,000 steps, try to shoot for 10,000 steps. If you work out 3 days a week, maybe shoot for going all in, do something active every single day in this next year. Maybe instead, you're used to going out to eat, maybe go out to eat, but only making a point that you're not going to have alcohol and you're going to eliminate the fried food. Maybe you're going to split a meal. There's so many ways that to really charge ahead on your goals going into this last month of the year. And what that's going to do to set you up is into the new year, where people used to make resolutions. Honestly, the crazy stats, which I have in front of me here, you'd be kind of blown away, as actually, according to Statista, they did a survey and a study, and I think the number of respondents, it was 6,780 respondents to the survey, 18 years and up, men and women both. And this was just this past year. And 63% of those people surveyed never made any resolutions. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or are you realizing, or a lot of us realizing, that New Year's resolutions just never work? Right? The percentage of people that actually kept their resolutions for 2022 is 22%, believe it or not. This is last year, 22%. 11% said they did not keep their resolutions. So you and I both know, I think the overall stat is about 8% of people actually, after like the second month, already fall and fail on their resolutions. And let's talk about those resolutions. And I think I'm going to do a little deeper dive. I don't want to spend too much time in here. Out of all of the people that were surveyed, the number one resolution that was made is to live healthier, which is good, but it's very, very general. It's very, very broad. Live healthier. What does that mean? Does it mean get off medication? Does it mean lose weight? Does it mean get a chiseled six pack? Does it mean run a marathon? Does it mean walk a mile? Does it mean have a gym membership? Does it mean actually eating a vegetable for the very first time in 3 years? Like, there's lots of variables attached to that. So it's a very broad resolution, if you will. And 23% of those who make resolutions say they want to live healthier. What's kind of crazy is in here, and this is according to the same Statista, is looking at the other things that people make resolutions about. They want to improve their happiness, personal improvement or happiness. That's 21%. 20% is losing weight. 16% changing career or jobs. They want to improve their jobs or career. 13% have financial goals. 11% want to improve relationships. 9% want to travel more. 7% exercising. 5% stop smoking. 2% reduce drinking. 4% don't know. And then other. So again, lots of different resolutions. What what's neat is actually in the living healthier, all of the things that I just mentioned kind of fall under that category, right? Traveling or moving, you're going to be living healthier. You're able to get out there and travel more. Losing weight, living healthier. Losing weight kind of falls in that category. Stop smoking, that's going to be living healthier. Those all great things. Even financial goals, believe it or not, do you know of people that are pursuing healthier fit? And I'm not talking ones that just, and that's actually been proven as well. Research has proven people that actually have a more aesthetic look to them, they are more beautiful, if you will, for a lack of better sense, they make more money, right? If you look at like the easiest way is to go to look at like the top realtors, some of the top real estate agents that I've seen, and they're really good looking and they have a way, they're convincible, like you want to work with them. But honestly, it's not just about like the aesthetic appearance. It's just knowing you're put together, you take care of yourself, right? The reality is actually people who actually are, and I know some of the top entrepreneurs and some of the people that I look up to that are also one of the most successful people that I've ever been around or met, they're also in great shape. And there's a correlation to that. In fact, people that take better care of themselves make more money. So if you're looking to improve your financial goals, guess what? Living healthier is going to help you make more money. It's the research has been there. It's not my personal opinion, which is kind of crazier. So, and then how do you do that? Well, I can tell you living in moderation is definitely not going to be the key for you. And if you allow yourself a moderation, let's just say you started in the end of October, so the weather started to change, getting ready for the holidays, you kind of ready for the year to be over. It's been a hard one. Thanksgiving's coming around, the stress, all the things that we mentioned earlier. And then you give yourself an excuse to fall short on your commitments. And listen, I'm going to be the first one that I do it all the time. I've done it a little bit this year, and our move and transition from Florida to Colorado was really hard. It was definitely a challenge, and I definitely slipped up on my commitments I made to myself. But I can tell you full well, because I've been dialed in the zone in the past, and I'm working towards that now. When you get in the zone, you feel better, you feel healthier. You don't have to worry about your weight. Your financial usually connects and correlates to that, even in your job, traveling more, exercising. I don't smoke. So but you're just living a healthier lifestyle, and all aspects of your life will improve. Will it all improve like exponentially? No, you have to work at it. And if everybody got in great shape, made all the money they want, had the best relationship, travel all they want, and didn't have to worry about, being on medication and having things that are jacking up in their lives, everybody do it. But the reason why a lot of people struggle, because it's hard. It's hard. And when you make kind of concessions for yourself and allow moderation to settle in, when you let moderation settle in now, the end of November going into December, then what happens in the new year? Then allowing yourself to moderation, it's going to be easy for you to not have any kind of set commitment or structure for yourself going into the new year. Or you have all these high expectations that things are just going to automatically, the light switch is going to go on, and you're going to start working out more, and you can start eating healthier, and you have no accountability and you have no support. Those expectations come. It's why so many people fail on their resolutions. It truly is. Or they don't even make them. And we just, I'd share with you, research shows 63% people are not even going to make any resolutions. 37% of the people who do make resolutions, out of those percent, so out of 100 people, 37 make resolutions. Only about 8% of those actually follow through in their commitments that they make. And a lot of times it falls short within 6 weeks, which is just crazy. And, one of the things I like to always know, for you, if you're thinking about, oh, well, I'm going to join a gym and I'm starting eating healthier, let's just talk about the gym for a moment. I have statistics. This is from exercise.com. And this is from 2019, as far as in gym memberships and so forth. 2019, obviously, is a little different time. 64 million Americans had gym memberships. And out of those 64 million Americans, about 44% of gym members go to the gym at least twice a week. So less than half of the 64 million Americans. So in the, what is that? 28 million out of the 64 million Americans actually are going at least twice a week. Well, if you have a gym membership, you're not using it. You think it's going to help you? It doesn't happen by osmosis, which is crazy. So, and it's no different than everything else. You can have all the healthy food in your refrigerator and all the great intentions, but if you're not actually eating the healthy food and you're letting it, I'll admit, I've had spinach and lettuce and vegetables go bad in the fridge because I just didn't eat them. I had intentions of doing that. And again, a lot of times, it comes to falling short on the commitments. And then when you start to fall short on commitments, it's easier to make concessions. It's easier to say, oh, I'll just do it in moderation. I don't really drink, just drink in moderation. You're comparing it to drinking a bottle of wine a night, and you go back to drinking 3 to 4 times a week, which alcohol is not going to do anything. There's no value in alcohol to your health at all. Despite saying, oh, no, my doctor said a glass of red wine is good for you and all that. Again, it's going to give you the excuse to drink more and to kind of say, oh, well, I'm just in moderation. You're looking at kind of the past of what you've done to now. So I want you to know, going into this next month, into December, I'm going to challenge you. Feel free to challenge me and say, I don't agree with that. I think you should actually, relax a little bit. If you had a hard year and enjoy the holidays and enjoy, you only live once, why go hardcore and all that? Like the bottom line is there's not too many people going hardcore anymore. In fact, sometimes I feel people say, Mark, you're so hardcore, you're doing this. And I don't even feel that that's that hardcore. I just feel compared to the norm of everyday people and maybe my age in their 50s, maybe getting into their 60s, you see the scale, I say the scale, the sliding scale. Think about in college. And you think about when you had a grade and it was graded on the curve. There's a sliding scale to the curve. Well, the curve of moderation is changing and not in a good way, right? And just look at the portion sizes when you go out to eat. Just look at the average person, set up 100 guys or 100 girls right next to each other, and you're going to see somebody that's in really ripped shape. Okay. There'll be one or two of those, but then you're going to see people that are like moderately okay in decent shape or that, look fairly healthy. And they're going to look in a really, really great shape comparing to the average of what's happening now to most men and women in their 50s, which is we're overweight, over 50% of the population. Men, women, and children now are actually considered overweight, and a high rate of growth in this being an epidemic proportion. Women, men, and children are becoming bigger and bigger as we speak. Portion size are becoming larger and larger. Like leisure and relaxation and chilling and Netflix and hanging out and overconsumption. And that's making the moderation scale slide and not in your favor. So I'm going to encourage you, regardless of where you're at, regardless if you have 100 pounds to lose, regardless if you have 10 pounds to lose, even regardless if you are in your ideal weight. I'm about 5 to 8 pounds from my ideal goal weight. I like to hover around 200 and I like to be in a size 34. This is for me, 32 to size 34, 34 because I have bigger legs. Just that's how nature gave them. My mom, my family, genetics gave me bigger legs. I'm not complaining. They've been good to me over the years, but I would say I hover around that. And I would say is usually if you look at the kind of the course of where people go and they fluctuate maybe 5 to 10 pounds, we don't see that anymore. My wife is a nurse practitioner, has seen patients in the past, and every year they're coming as like 10, 15, 20 pounds up from the last year. Despite all the gym memberships, despite all of the medications, despite all of the trendy diets and weight loss gummies, and all the injections and all the weight loss subscriptions, all of the stuff. If you were to go look at the last 10 years, despite all of the coaches and trainers and gym memberships and exercise equipment and all the incentives, we're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what that means is the scale of moderation now is going up and up and up, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to ask you in this to kind of finalize. And as we kind of dug into this, I hope you understand. I'm going to give you some key things on how to go hard this next month. And this could be for you the very first time, maybe, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. And I'm going to at least do something for 10 to 15 minutes. Doesn't mean you have to spend 2 hours in the gym. In fact, most of our students are working out less than 20 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week, adding in some walking, getting some steps in, and actually it's benefiting them tremendously. Other than people that are going to the gym once or twice a week and working out for 2 hours at that time. Again, regardless, some working out is better than none. Some eating healthy is better than none. But I'm going to encourage you going into this next month as we just come out of Thanksgiving, and maybe you're a little pissed off because the scale is not your friend right now and the clothes are fitting a little tighter than they did last year. I'm going to challenge you to not accept moderation through the holiday season. I'm going to actually challenge you to do something out of your comfort zone in this next month. Maybe it's abstaining from alcohol. Maybe it's only having a dessert on Christmas and maybe on New Year's. It's maybe not having any fried food. Maybe it's instead of going for a short walk with the dog, is you're going to bundle up and go for 10,000 steps a day through the month of December. Maybe you don't know how to do push-ups. Maybe you haven't even tried to do push-ups. Maybe your challenge could be to try to do 10 push-ups every day from the counter and try to increase that and do as many as you can for the next 30 days. Maybe you can actually, instead of sitting around on the couch while you're watching your favorite show, is you're going to do a workout. You do a 15-minute body weight workout in front of in front of your favorite show. Maybe you're watching a Christmas movie and you love what is that? The Hallmark Christmas movies. Well, maybe in the Hallmark, if they have commercials or in between every 10 minutes, you do 10 squats. Like there's a way to work through these holidays. So you're not kind of starting out behind where you started out last year. Because now the only difference is it's a year later. And even if you have the same 10 pounds of body weight that you had that you didn't lose, and maybe you lost it and it came back on, or 20 pounds or 50 pounds. And I've talked to a number of people behind the scenes and they say, Mark, I did really well. I started off really well. And, life got in the way and the weight just came back on. Or, I did all the dieting. I did this keto. I did this weight loss program. And then I did well for that. And then the weight just came right back on. Regardless of what happened, what you needed to learn is that you are getting a year older. It's only going to get harder the longer you don't learn from the mistakes. Maybe one of the mistakes you made last year through the holidays in 2022 is that you actually went moderation through the holidays. And that's what got you in trouble, because moderation was really just a word, kind of empty words when you really just went overboard. So I'm going to encourage you to just level up. Take out a piece of paper, write 4 or 5 things you can do. Write on a column what you did last year if you can remember. Maybe write some of the things are going to get in the way on that one column. And then write how you're going to avoid moderation. I'm going to avoid moderation by shooting for 10,000 steps, despite how cold it might be outside or how dark it is. I'm going to shoot for eating my portion of vegetables. We have in our coaching program, our women know exactly how much food they need to eat in order for them to get the weight off, in order for them to sustain the weight loss, in order for them to pursue healthy lifestyle habits. Like, you have to understand, you don't need to count calories. You don't need to weigh your food, but you need to understand your proteins and your fats and your carbohydrates. And just for the record, carbohydrates are not the enemy. You can make them the enemy for yourself during the holiday season, or you can just realize that it's food is food. It's not bad food or good food. It's going to help you. But of course, if you think in moderation through Christmas, through this New Year's, and then going into the new year thinking you're just going to change, the new year is just going to shut the door behind you, you're going to carry all of that garbage with you that you carried for the whole last year, maybe the whole last 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 years. You're going to carry all those habits with you. You're not going to ever break a habit, just as I'm never going to not like chocolate. But what you can do is develop a new direction moving forward. You can look back at what you did, good, bad, or indifferent, how well you did in the holidays or not, but look to make improvements moving forward. Look to elevate your moderation level, maybe even next season or even today starting that you can say, you know what, today I listened to Mark's podcast. Listen to what he said. And you know what? I'm not going to accept moderation through the holidays. And don't let that be an excuse. Oh, well, if I don't accept moderation, it means I just won't have fun. I won't enjoy myself. Well, if you're only classifying your fun and enjoyment in the holidays as it just being with food and booze and laziness, then maybe it's time to redefine your holidays. I hope this helped. I hope this podcast found you well. And if it did, all I ask in return is that you share this show with somebody. I won't be doing any advertisements on here. I've realized too, and I've gotten in trouble in the past, where you put all your money into ads and advertising, and then you really don't have a true say in where your ads are being shown. So with that, I just want to encourage you, if you found this helpful, just share the show. Appreciate it. Drop your comments down below if you found this helpful. Appreciate it. Take care. Hope this helped. And again, the key is moderation is not the key. Take care and God bless.